Hello boys and girls and cougar parents. Today we are going to find slope using 2 points. Okay, and we're going to take the coordinates of these 2 points and use our 2-point slope formula. Let's try a couple practice problems together. Boys and girls, let's take a look at our first 2 problems. Now, what they do is they give us the coordinates of 2 points. Okay, and then we take these 2 points and we draw a line. Well, actually, we're not going to draw a line. What we're going to use our 2-point slope formula, which simply says slope is equal to the rise over the run, which we know that the rise is the difference in the rise, which is the difference between our second and first y value, and then we divide that by our run, which is the difference between our second x value and our first x value. So for example, this would be my first x value, this would be my first y value. This would be my second x value, this would be my second y value. So I would take y sub 2, which is negative 15, and then I would subtract my first y value, which is negative 16, and then I would divide that by my second x value, which is negative 7, and I would subtract that by my first x value, which is 19. And when I take negative 15 and I subtract a negative 16, when I subtract a negative, I'm really adding, which would leave me with a positive 1. Okay, this is really negative 15 plus, these two would become a plus 16, which would give me a 1, and then a negative 7. And if I took 19 more negatives away from that, that would give me a negative 26. So there's my slope of up 1, and then I'd go left 26 units, which is going to create a very flat negative slope. Let's look at our second set of, we have 2 points here. This again would be, x1, this would be y1, this would be x2, my second x value, and this would be my second y value. I take negative 7 minus negative 19, and then I would take my second x value, which is negative 2, and I would subtract my first x value, which is 1. And a negative 7 minus a negative 19 is really going to be negative 7 plus 19, which will give me a positive 12. And then a negative 2 minus 1 would give me a negative 3. And 12 divided by negative 3 is a negative 4. So that gives me a slope of negative 4, which that means I'd go down 4, then 1 to the right. Down 4, 1 to the right. Okay, let's take a look at our next 2 points. Number 5, I skipped a couple, but number 5, again, we're going to use our 2-point slope formula, which slope is going to be equal to our second y minus our first y divided by our second x value minus our first x value. So I would take 8 minus a negative 13. This is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. So I took 8 and subtracted negative 13 from it. I divide that by 17 minus 17, which is going to give me this, and subtracting a negative is really adding, so I get 8 plus a 13, which is 21, and then 17 minus 17 is 0. Okay, and you can't divide a number by 0. If you try dividing a number by 0 on your calculator, you're going to get an error, undefined, so, and that's exactly what happens. Our slope is undefined, and what that means is we have a vertical line. Okay, so our answer is undefined, that's a vertical line. Now number 6, we have another interesting scenario here. Again, we've got our first x value and our first y value, and then we have our second x value and our second y value. And y sub 2 minus y sub 1, that's 3 minus 3, and my x sub 2 minus my first x value, which is 19, now I get a 0 over 1. Now, 0 divided by 1 would be 0, okay? And anytime you have a slope of 0, that means there's no rise. We're talking about a horizontal line. Okay, so when we take a look at number 5 and 6, we see two very special cases here. We see where we have a slope that's undefined. That tells us we have a vertical line that's going straight up and down. What does that mean? That means our rise can be anything, and our run is going to be 0. That means we're not moving horizontally. We're just going up and down. That's a vertical line that's undefined. Our other scenario here is where there is no rise. Our rise is 0, okay? And our run could be anything. It could be 1 to a million, doesn't really matter. Okay, when we have no rise at all, or a rise of 0, our slope is 0, and we have a horizontal line. Well, boys and girls, as always, I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, please bring them to class tomorrow, and we'll go over them then. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.